Hello and welcome to another video. This video is following my art over the past week that I've created in my sketchbook. It was kind of a sketchbook challenge, which I've never done before, but I really liked it. And I like how it kind of forced me to just use my sketchbook at some point during the day, because I typically go through phases of using my sketchbook and I want to be better at using it every day and making it a habit. So I really liked this challenge, and this video basically follows each of my sketchbooking sessions throughout the week. So I started it on a Sunday, and that's what this painting here is. You can kind of see I'm using the Himi gouache set. It's the 48 color one, and I just used the brushes that it came with. And then my sketchbook is a Talin's brand. It's an art creation sketchbook, and I have the size it's 4 by 4 inches. So yeah, this is day one. I did have like a vision in my head for this one, which was not the case every day, but I had like a solid color scheme that I wanted to run with, which you'll find out I basically used that color scheme for the rest of the week as well. I just had a lot of ideas for it. So in this one, I started with like a light greenish yellow underpainting, and then I'm just laying down some mountain shapes. And for the paints, I'm very messy with it. I just kind of get shapes down and the shades that I kind of want, but I always rely on colored pencils at the very end to clean it up. So you'll see that step later. The idea for this page kind of came to me. I was trying to fall asleep the night before, and I just kind of like pictured this scenery with like these very bold colors, and I thought it'd be a great way to start the challenge. I like when I have something specific that I actually want to create, and I don't have to just like sit down and force making something or like finding a reference. I really like coming into it with a plan and an idea for like the colors or the composition or whatever it is, which I think I was pretty good at doing that for like this whole week, because like I said, I used this color scheme, and then all my ideas for like the rest of the week were based off of this for the most part, and I just kept using it, kept coming back to it. But yeah, I haven't used these paints a ton yet. I just got them for this past Christmas, and I've used them less than 5 times, I think. So this week was pretty good at learning how to use these a bit better. I use these almost every day. So you can kind of see it now. These are the 3 colors that I focused on. I wanted like a very bold red color, and then a strong contrast for that with like a lime green. And then I also used like a navy blue, like a grayer navy blue. And I love these 3 colors together. I think they look so cool. And I was surprised at how much I could do with it, which kind of made me want to challenge myself for like maybe a future video of just like picking a color scheme for a week and rolling with that again, which I didn't really mean to do for this one, but it kind of worked out that way. But yeah, I think that'd be cool to try. I didn't include the parts I did with the colored pencil at the very end where I added the details and everything, but I wasn't too specific with it. You can kind of see like the grass areas are just like round circles. The sky is like the clouds are the same thing, and I just added some very basic line work just to hint at some details, but I didn't get too detailed with it. Alright, here's day 2. This was Monday, and like I said, I'm sticking to the same color scheme. I laid down the same underpainting color of like the lime greenish yellow, and I had the idea of like a big beetle, basically. I made a similar, or I drew something similar to this a while ago with markers, and that's what I'm kind of basing the shape and the legs and everything off of. Like I said, I am using the brushes that this paint set came with just because I don't, I'm at my college apartment right now. I don't have like all of my supplies with me. So yeah, I typically just use the 3 brushes that it comes with, but this is like the thinnest size that it has, which I was kind of worried about because I do like to like be very detailed for the most part, but I also like how this size, it was thin enough, but it did like challenge me to kind of just not be so obsessed with the details and just kind of like make the shape, make like a rough shape of something and just roll with it, because it kind of just made me move on a little faster and not get so obsessed with what I was making, which I really liked. I kind of want to also implement that in the future more. I think it just works towards making me like more confident in general and being confident in like the lines. Something I typically do is I like rotate my canvas or paper or whatever I'm working on so that I can always like draw a line from left to right, and I want to get better at being able to just draw a line at any direction. So that's also something I kind of challenged myself with during this. I tried not to move around the sketchbook so much, but I think I definitely ended up still doing that a little bit throughout it. But yeah, it was fun to kind of force myself to like practice different directions of line work, and I think it was helpful. Eventually I did have the idea of drawing a star on the back of the beetle, which is not on my original design for this, but I thought it looked really cool. I think I just was having a hard time getting like that reflective look with these paints, so instead of that I just did the star to make it a little more interesting than just like a plain green color, which I really like how it turned out, and it helps it stand out a little bit. And then originally I did like a dark purplish pink color to outline it, and I didn't like it. That was like the vision I had in my head, but I didn't like it. It was like a good shade, but just being over the top of the green changed it. like it became a lot darker, a lot more brown looking. So I went back to the red, of course, and yeah, you can see this is basically the same color scheme as the day before. I think is very smart because I don't clean my palette off every day. So leaving the paints on there to just like reactivate the next day, it ended up working really well because I had like a basis for each paint that I wanted to use, and I could just kind of keep adding to it or just reuse it. So that like wasn't planned, but that was like an added bonus, I guess, of using the same colors every day. So for this one, I did also go in with some colored pencils at the end, but just for like the background, the green, yellow in the back, it felt too flat for me. So I just added some lines, some like horizontal stripes. You can see the colored pencil I'm using for this. It's very short. I definitely need to get some new ones. This is like currently my favorite color to work with, I think, right now, this like lime green. And I've just been using this colored pencil a ton, but you'll see throughout the video. I have a lot of very short ones that I have a blue one that's maybe 2 inches long. I think I'll just have to order some online soon because they're really short. Alright, here's day 3. This one I don't have much footage for, or I mean, it was just a short day. I did have a lot of homework this day and I had to go grocery shopping, so I didn't have a ton of time, but I still just wanted to get something down. So this one, I went for a chicken. I didn't really reference it off any shape. I just tried to roughly make it look like a chicken. I started with like a cream yellowish acrylic paint marker, and just to get like the body shape down. And I didn't use any paints for this one other than the paint markers and then some colored pencils I used at the end. But just because I knew I didn't have much time, so I just wanted to get it down quick. But I was kind of making this one up. This one's probably my least favorite for the week, but it looks fine. Another thing I'm trying to do is use less references, especially for my sketchbook. Like, it just doesn't matter that much, and I think I learn more when I don't straight up copy something. I've definitely gotten better at this, but yeah, another part of me like using my sketchbook more, I'm gonna try and not use so many references, or I'm gonna try and like roughly use it slightly, but maybe like alter it in my own way somehow. I think that'll help me find like a style that I like too. Okay, you can see I just went in, I made the background like the navy blue color so the chicken would stand out a little bit, and I added some colored pencils at the very end, and that's basically it. Alright, day 4, I finally switched up the colors a bit. I was doing another landscape. This one, I didn't film the painting process because I just didn't. I don't know, this video is already super long. So I just filmed like the colored pencil parts, and you can see me just kind of scribbling around. It's not really thought out at all. This one I did also have like a vision for beforehand. I basically just pictured a very pink sky and then a bunch of fields that were outlined like with a very dark green, but the hills are kind of like different colors. And then I just wanted to create like a bunch of stripes throughout those fields because I'm from Wisconsin, so like this is like what every road trip looks like. Every time I drive home, it's like all these fields. And I don't know, I just like how all the lines look throughout the fields. So, yeah. I also added a little red barn just to like add something, I don't know, make it a little more interesting, a pop of that red. But yeah, this one I'm not in love with. I definitely like the mountain scene that I did at the beginning. I really love that piece, and I actually want to like try and make that like a bigger version of that and change it up slightly. I've liked doing these little landscapes in my sketchbook recently because my book is like such a small size, and I like having a little section on the side so I can swatch colors, and then I like to just throw in some random things that somehow relate. Like this one, you can see it has the corn on the side, which was a random addition, but yeah, I like having a little space on the side just to kind of add whatever, just so it's not completely filled up. Alright, here's day 5. This one I also really love, and of course it's because I went back to the color scheme. I ended up not loving the farm fields one, so I want to go back to the colors I liked more. This one I had a vision for, kind of. I like pictured these blue flowers. I don't know if these are like actual flowers. I think they look the most like poppies, but I don't know if poppies are ever this blue color. So I started with a red underpainting, and then I just started laying down some colors for the leaves and the actual flowers. I tend to water down my paints a lot, so I've found that I kind of have to go over them usually. When I started doing this navy blue background, that was a lot more like opaque than my first colors, which was nice because it just contrasted really nice with the flower and the little star. I feel like as soon as I added this blue background, it made me really love this one. And this one might also be one that I try to recreate in on an actual canvas in like a larger size. I did kind of go off the page a little bit. It wasn't quite centered how I wanted because eventually I started like adding borders, and then I don't know, it got too close to the edge, and it still looked fine, but it wasn't quite like rectangle or like square to the page. So once I got like the flower how I basically wanted it, you can see the border get added kind of randomly, but I went in with the blue and just added some like green designs around it just to try to create some kind of pattern. And then I thought it blended in too much with the actual blue of the background, so I tried to create like a red in between border, like a outline of it to help it stand out, which worked. And then I didn't know when to stop, I guess. I also did like a red outline of the very, very outside border, and that's where it got cut off the edge. But I think this one took the longest for me out of the 7 days. Because like I said, I kind of just didn't know when to stop. I kept adding to it. It kind of looks like the back of like a card, like a playing card, which I think would be so cool to design a deck of cards. If this was just like the back and then I could design like each number differently, I think that'd be really cool. Another goal of mine is to create a calendar for 2027. I want to design each like month picture, but I want to kind of create like not just one picture for each month. I want to make it somewhat of like a collage. Like if I were to have the first page that I did with the mountains and the red, and then also this flower like side by side as one of the months, like that's kind of what I would be going for. So if I try like the color scheme thing where I each week like focus on a new color scheme, then I think each of those weeks would kind of turn into like 1 month of the calendar. I don't know, I don't really use like an actual wall calendar, but a lot of like my grandparents do, my aunt does, and I'd love to make copies for everyone in the family. And any reason to like print out and make my art into something like tangible as a gift, I really enjoy. I really like creating my own gifts for people. I do that a lot for Christmas gifts. And yeah, calendar I think is going to be my goal for 2026. My favorite part of this one is the background, and at the very end I did like blue stripes in the background that were alternating between the light blue and like a navy blue, which I love how that changed the background just slightly because it's still like a blue background, but it lightened it up a bit and it didn't make it look so flat in the back, I think. I don't know, I really like how the background turned out. And I think it helps highlight the actual subject a bit more, maybe. Alright, here is day 6, coming in with the same color scheme again, of course. This one I didn't really have a plan for. I just created all these like little sections of the colors, and once I laid those down, I was like, okay, these kind of look like bookmarks. Maybe I'll design some potential bookmarks. And you can see the very first one I did with like the same kind of idea as the farm fields one. I just did like a sideways landscape. And then each one I just kind of made up whatever I thought of for that one. I just went with. You can see me making the little crab, which I think he turned out so good. And I think he's like contrasted really well on that green. I also did like another flower one, like the same flowers as the last page, but on a bookmark. And I think that one was probably my favorite out of these. I don't know, those flowers just seem really cute to me. So after I did the crab, I wanted something for his background, but I wasn't really sure. I feel like I always just go to stripes. So I did that again, of course. I just did like the red and the navy blue stripes, which kind of took away from it a little bit, I think. Like the crab kind of gets lost, but I don't know. If I were to like make an actual bookmark, I'd change it up somehow. I didn't film every part of this one just because it took a while, and there was some time in between that I was like, thinking of an idea for the next bookmark. So yeah, I was kind of like bouncing back and forth between them a little bit, adding layers and like waiting for it to dry. So yeah, I definitely didn't film all of this one. I also went in at the very end and did some colored pencils on some of them, not all of them. But I'll show the final product at the very end. The last one I worked on was, it's like the navy blue panel on the inside by the spine. And my vision for that was like a tomato plant. So I started with like just a bunch of red dots to try and combine as a plant eventually. But I don't really think it turned out. It looks like it could be a tomato plant, but it kind of just looks like a flower bush with just very round flowers. But that's fine. I was kind of running out of ideas for these. Um, yeah, I will show the final product for these at the very end. I think I asked my roommates which ones their favorites were, and one of them said the flower one, and one of them said the fish, which the fish was kind of like just like a quick sketch. Like I didn't really think about it. I would try to add a little more detail or switch up like how I laid the colors down if I were to make it a actual bookmark. But I do like how the fish turned out. I feel like the solid, like the very opaque navy blue being laid down was like so satisfying. And I am getting better at like confident brush strokes. All right, and then the very last day, I did end up going to a coffee shop and I didn't take many videos, so I just kind of patched together some random clips. And then here's the final flip through of all the pages I did. I'm really glad that I did this challenge because it has made me want to use my sketchbook more each day, and I do want to keep this habit. So I love how most of these turned out, but I'm not mad about any of them. So yeah, I had a great time. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, you should subscribe, you should like it, or leave a comment. Tell me which page was your favorite or which day was your favorite. And thank you so much.